greasy prop.
Made in Germany.
If he can read stuff off the prop, then he can tell you.
Are you sure about this?
Yep.
It's Settlers. This would have been a good trip.
We're dragging something. I'm Melissa, and this is Ted. We bought a sailboat in the fall of 2024, and in real time, we're nearing the end of a huge refit. We're so glad you're here to catch up on the journey that brought us to this point. Welcome back to northern Massachusetts in the summer. While tourists enjoy this nostalgic riverside town, we continue our exhausting work to bring our lightning-damaged and neglected sailboat back to life. On the previous episode, we showed you how we took out the rotted floor under the hot water heater, rewired the hot water heater, and built a new floor for it, and how Ted installed our new inverter charger, one that is compatible with our Epic lithium iron phosphate batteries. Ted had to rewire most of the battery compartment at the same time.
I had to get in there and completely rewire everything. Down in the battery compartment, I had to go in there and do a bunch of rearranging on bus bars. It didn't really have a bus bar, and they kind of did a daisy chain parallel system with the old AGM batteries, where they went from, like on the positive cable, from one positive to the next one to the next one, and they did the same thing with the negatives. And it does work, but it doesn't allow the batteries to balance out and float properly with the charging and discharging. In order to solve that, you had to go in and build a bus bar system. And the good thing about the batteries is the negative was on one side of the battery, on the length of it, and the positive was on the other side. So on one side of the battery compartment, I can do all positives, and the other one do all negatives. Plus, I also installed a sub bus bar for other little things to tie into the main bus bar, which would be things like the DC to DC charger, which would allow the alternator to charge to the engine battery, and then from there, using the engine battery as a buffer, it could charge to, it could come in to a Victron DC to DC charger.
And you'll probably remember that back in May, we purchased a used feathering prop and brought it to a nearby prop shop to be serviced and tested.
It's a very prop. It's a feathering prop that the blades align with the water as you're sailing. So the used Very prop that we purchased on eBay, after inspections, ended up having catastrophic issues, and plus it was older than what was advertised, and these issues couldn't be resolved. It was old technology, and so the eBay seller ended up refunding us our money, and with that back, we ended up investing in a brand new one with Accutech, because we wanted peace of mind out there. But we wanted all the benefits of what a Very prop offers us, as far as high torque and no drag on the boat when sailing.
We're about to pick up our new propeller. So here it is.
The big greasy prop.
Now we have to wait for the mechanic to complete our engine rebuild and for the bottom to be sandblasted and repainted, and then the new prop can be installed. Meanwhile, we're continuing to work on any projects that we can while waiting for the bottom blaster and the rigger to do their work. The sun comes up at 5 a.m. in the summer, so we're awake very early. However, the boatyard doesn't turn the electricity on until 9 a.m., limiting the work that can be done before then. Therefore, we've fallen into a routine of exploring nearby towns from dawn until we can begin our work in the boatyard. We've discovered delightful places to have breakfast, such as Lil's Cafe in Kittery, Maine, which has delicious biscuit sandwiches and crullers. Another time we went sightseeing in York, Maine, which has lovely beaches, and the Nubble Point Lighthouse. We stopped at Ted's favorite place, Johnson's Fastener Warehouse in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, on the way back to the boatyard.
They have the largest supply of 316 grade stainless steel, which is very expensive at West Marine, and here you get it at wholesale prices to the public. Cable clamps, screws, bolts, nuts, electrical connections, whatever you need.
Sometimes we combine picking up boat parts with a walk and breakfast, such as in Amesbury, where there's a cute little coffee cafe and a waterfall downtown. In addition to Amesbury Industrial Supply, which has every kind of part we could ever imagine a use for. When we need to go to the prop shop in Dover, New Hampshire, Emery Farm is close by, giving us the opportunity to have a tasty blueberry donut for breakfast and pick our own blueberries to share with friends in the boatyard.
You can take a taste. Let's see.
Really good. Really sweet.
We've got blueberries all over the place.
Other times, we take a quiet morning walk through the Moseley Woods pine forest. Or watch the surfers materialize from the fog at Hampton Beach. One of our favorite spots that we visit frequently is the Salisbury Beach Reservation, where Ted can fish from the rock jetty, and we can take a walk on the sandy beach and look for shells as the sun rises out of the ocean. One day we discovered a castle in nearby Haverhill, Massachusetts. The Winnickenny Castle was built by a chemist, Dr. James Nichols, between 1873 and 1875. He had it built as a summer home overlooking nearby Canosa Lake. The city purchased it in 1895, and it became a park and a site for recreational and social gatherings. The interior of the castle was destroyed by a fire in 1969. Although the exterior of the building has been refurbished, it is no longer used, and the area around it is now utilized as a public park and conservation area with hiking trails. And sometimes we get into just a little bit of trouble.
Are you sure about this?
Yep.
And that's what it's saying to take us?
Yep.
Nice.
We're driving through the woods
Love it.
on an unpaved road.
I like it.
Doesn't matter what I do. She's got a
road. I'm looking at the map.
When we're going dancing, my heart starts beating when my headlights shining on her.
Holy cow.
She's my country girl.
This is insane. What are we doing?
There's a little she's doing.
Baby, there's a huge drop off here.
She's so damn out on my league. She's a little bit crazy on the weekends.
Okay. There's tree roots and rocks and all kinds of stuff. Okay, we saw a sign back there that said, this is not a town maintained road. Pass at your own risk. Now I understand why it said that. Good thing we have a Jeep.
Back in the day, settlers, this would have been good for
She can let her hair down, but got her feet on the ground.
We're dragging something.
Get enough of her. She can drive it so wild, just with her sweet smiling.
This is what we were dragging. Took a chunk out of our bumper.
Every time I'm looking
Oops.
at her. She's my country girl.
I'm scared.
I couldn't tell you what she's doing today.
Are you sure we should be driving here?
She's a little bit crazy.
It's a road. In New Hampshire, out in the sticks. Literally. Oh, there's a house.
somebody's house.
Yeah. Drive this road to get out to the house like that. Can you imagine? You got a snowplow, so they need it. Not this time of the year though. Two snowplows. Amazing. Well, it's an adventure. Happy 4th of July. It's a good day for a walk. It's nice and sunny and breezy. It's about 70 degrees. We already got a bunch of stuff done this morning. Watched the sunrise. Went out to the beach. Ted helped a guy get his cool eagle kite up in the air. We checked out a new local diner for breakfast. I had a waffle with M&Ms on it. Never seen that on a menu before, so I had to try it. It was really good. Ted is still working on planning a bunch of projects that need to get done. Hopefully this upcoming week they'll be moving our boat and then we can start getting the soda blasting done and Ted can start working on the bottom and the through hulls. This is the typical thing that we deal with every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and to a lesser extent on weeknights, but this whole boatyard is used as a parking lot for the waterfront restaurants here because the guy who owns the boatyard also owns that restaurant over there and another restaurant that's behind that tree right there. There's a couple hundred cars in this parking lot right now. They're supposed to be moving us to that back corner where that catamaran is because they don't want us to scrape or paint the bottom of our boat or do any of the rigging or anything while we're here because we're right in the middle of all these cars. But
Just playing.
with this new shop vac, what are you gonna use that thing for?
Shop vacuum.
In the bilge? Sanding
I
it?
don't know. Yeah, sanding and stuff.
This is gonna be an interesting day here. got 2 lifts moving in the yard. We've been waiting to move to this back corner over here, and the catamaran is finally ready to go in the water. They're also launching our friends on Wink over here today. They're gonna head off to Florida with their boat. There's Wink going by. I think it's a 33 foot, I believe. It's high tide right now, so they're gonna put Wink in the water, and then they're taking the big lift over to get Smiling Wide, the catamaran over there, and that one will go in next. Ted is gonna go on that boat with the owner. They have to take it about a mile up the river to a marina to get a little bit of engine work done. Here comes our friend Doug's catamaran, Smiling Wide, finally moving out from the back corner. So that's gonna leave room for us to go back there. 2 days ago was the 1-year anniversary of the day that we first came to see this boat last summer. And I can't even count how many times it's been moved since then. It's finally going to its last spot on the land where we'll finish the projects. And then hopefully within 6 weeks or so, it'll be going into the water. We've seen this process happen quite a few times now. And we haven't even sailed anywhere yet. They've got her in her new spot, and they're gonna block her up a little bit higher this time so that we can paint the underside of the keel. Getting her all secure for the next month to month and a half that she'll be sitting here. Get the rest of the projects done. And then we'll finally be ready to splash.
I ordered and put together a cyclone dust collecting system for our new shop vac that we got. We bought this one on Temu on sale, and it was a double cyclone, and it was supposed to collect more. And there you had to have a separate bucket. The one thing though is I imploded 2 plastic 5-gallon cans trying to get this thing to work because it had so much suction. So we had to end up going with a metal 5-gallon bucket to keep that from happening. But here you'll see me using it down in the bilge. This really helped to keep dust from going all over the place. So it's kind of hard to see this, but we are actually in the battery compartment. I'm buried inside, and I've got all the cables and connections that I've installed. I've got it all taped up. This is the compartment where these batteries are going to actually sit. And what I'm about to do is I'm about to grind down the fiberglass so we can do a white epoxy coating on it. This is boat builder's grade pigmented dyed white epoxy. And what I've done is I've cleaned the bolts, and those are going to get tightened down. But You see all this staining down in here? I'm about to grind all this out. I picked up a little Bosch die grinder. I've been in there with my sander already, but the die grinder is going to help me get into tight little spaces. And I actually was really reluctant about buying this versus the Walmart has one. And it's got amazing reviews, and it's only like about a third of the price. It doesn't have quite as much battery juice as this one has, and I'm trying to establish more Bosch tools and Makita tools, but I would be totally okay with getting that Walmart. It's called Hyper Tough. We've used them for other things, other little items like the little shop vacs and lights and a bunch of different things. I've got all kinds of little fittings that I bought for it on Amazon. You can buy like a million of these little things. I think I paid 29 bucks, and it's got about every kind of sander and paint stripper you can imagine, a bunch of them, and polishers. I'll be able to use it for polishing. This is a wool polisher. They're pretty cheap, but they work really well. And die grinder, I'm gonna say, is a must-have. Here's an example of one of those Hyper Tough tools. They seem to be pretty tough for the money. So I'm pretty stoked about this bilge compartment. This is that material, that epoxy material that I put over the sanded gel coat that was in the bilge. Again, the gel coat that was put over this wasn't quite a nice smooth surface, so this epoxy stuff you know, just lays over it, and it itself has kind of a texture. This stuff is really tough, and I had sanded it, scuffed everything up, but it came out really well. I had to go back in there and touch up around these keel plates where the bolts go through and the nuts are on top of them, and of course those are 3/16 stainless. But when these boards here go in, then that will be completely sealed, and we may never go in this bilge again. So I wanted to make sure that this bilge was, you know, done right, so I won't have to worry about it. What we're doing now is we're going to be tightening these keel bolts. I'm going to try it one more time. Hopefully this thing doesn't come apart. I wire brushed with a stainless steel brush all the threads. You can actually see this blue dust clinging to the plastic. It's turning it all blue. That's when the blue bottom pigment for.
Make sure you check out our Facebook page and our Buy Me a Coffee page, which are linked below. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time as we tackle some more boat projects.